Hi, Chris. How are you today?
Good, Trina. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today. What I'd like to do is start off with you sharing a brief biography of your role and how it plays in instructional technology.
Well, I come from a long line of teachers to begin with, and then I got into business as a research and data entry person with a large cellular company simply because I wanted the benefits and I needed to be home by 4:30. And it was the cellular business just was growing. We went from the brick to the BlackBerry within, just a couple of years. And so there was plenty of room for opportunity, and especially in training.
Excellent. Could you share some of your qualifications for your current role and tell us what is your current role?
Well, currently I'm an instructional designer, and actually my bachelor's degree is a liberal arts degree with a double major of fine art and art history. So I could write about things that you don't see and explain them to you so you can picture them, and then put them in the context of history and other artists. So when it comes to training, putting things in context so that people understand it, it seemed to be a perfect flow. That and also my liberal arts education, I had to give slideshows and present to auditoriums, and so my presentation skills were also enhanced by that.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. Welcome back, Chris. Could you continue on with your discussion and tell me more about your duties and responsibilities for your current role, and just what does a typical day look like?
Well, first of all, it's funny because when I started as a trainer, the trainer also wrote the training and gave the training back in the day. So the company that I worked for really they fostered a culture of learning, and I got a lot of certifications such as Langevin certifications as a trainer, as a designer, as a training manager. I was certified in total quality management. I was also certified in experiential learning, and all of those have played a really strong role in my development as an instructional designer. As an instructional designer, my duties are basically around designing training that meets the terminal objective through the use of supporting objectives. And in a typical week, I'm juggling 3 or more projects. I meet with subject matter experts. I meet with project teams. The senior designer usually takes care of the original analysis with the stakeholder. Then they discuss it with me, and we talk about possible design, ways that we can design around it. I come up with a proof of concept that's acceptable to both the senior and the stakeholders. And then we also have to track our time by project and by which phase of the ADDIE process we're in, so that we have a good snapshot of how much time we're spending in different phases and how much time it takes to do certain things.
Excellent. So, Chris, could you elaborate on any future aspirations you have? What are your future endeavors in this field?
Well, it's funny because I fell in love with training really when I got the opportunity to participate in total quality management, which was a re-engineering of the business from a customer supplier aspect, and it totally focused on who defines quality, and that's the customer. And that carries on into what we here at our company call our relationship care ethos, which is, it's all about customer service. So I'm currently working on my master's in business education with a focus on performance improvement. So I'm all about helping people, become better at what they're doing, improve the metrics for the business, while we improve the individual's ability to perform and hopefully, move further on in the business.
Thank you, Chris. Welcome back, Chris. Can we continue on with your interpretation of your contribution to the field?
Well, I think with most of my, my adult education and the feedback that I've gotten over the years is that I approach each project from a consultative standpoint, and that comes from, my training in experiential learning and in total quality management, as well as most of the courses that I've taken here with American Express. I think that my greatest contributions are around soft skills. I really have a forte for soft skills, sales and customer service training, change management, things like that that not only pull together the cognitive part but also the emotional part of the interaction between the customer and the employee.
And Chris, what do you find most rewarding about your job?
It is a creative position. You get to think out of the box. How can I take this and make this engaging for the different kinds of learning styles that adults have? So I really like that part of that. I love working with people. If I'm going to be in the business, I want to be in the service business. And I think my very favorite part of the job is when I get to actually, once I've designed a course, train the trainers who are going to train it. And I really love that because having been a trainer, I know the kind of things that they look for and expect, and also it feels like home. So I've always enjoyed that. And embracing, a culture of collaboration and customer service and continuous improvement, so that I want that feedback on my design. What would work better? What do you need or not need? What did I give you too much of or too little of? And I love working with trainers because they're right there on the front line. They're the ones who can give me that feedback. A lot of times, yes, of course, we want to survey our learners and hear what they have to say, but the person who observed them from beginning to end, those are the people I want to know the most from, because they can probably give me the most insight into how to change it for whatever that learner felt they didn't receive.
And Chris, I can really feel the passion that you have for your career. However, I know that there are some opportunities and challenges that you may face. So can you talk a little bit about those?
Well, I think the biggest challenge these days is staying up with technology. The world is changing, and it's a wonderful thing. It's becoming, smaller and smaller because of online learning and all the different aspects of that. I'd really like to explore things like e-mentoring and things like that, but they are the most challenging. That, and also every year we're always asked to do more with less. And that's always the consultant's triangle says that, you can have it good, fast, cheap. You can only pick two. And you're going to have trade-offs either around time or resources if you want to have good training.
And Chris, would you say that your education has prepared you for your current role as an instructional designer?
It's kind of hard to say because, experience is really the best teacher. And although the best courses I took might have had a project base in them, they were a little contrived. Whereas, if you can take those skills and apply them right at the time on a real project, I find that a lot more, for me, I learn more that way. Also, it's very hard to anticipate in class and talk about all the different kinds of things that you can experience as either a trainer or an instructional designer within a project. And having been exposed to a lot of different kinds of projects, and some tough ones too, like market acquisitions and things like that, where there isn't a lot of what's in it for me for the learners, except for keeping their jobs. Still making that engaging and still getting them to buy in. I don't think that they can teach a lot of that in role play in class, but the theory and the sharing between other professionals has been very beneficial, as far as my education, but it's still certainly no replacement for experience.
Wonderful. And Chris, lastly, what advice would you give to aspiring students heading towards graduation and looking to get into the instructional technology field?
Find a company you want to work for, hound them, try and get your foot in the door. I would also consult somebody about my resume and make sure that those competencies that they're looking for in the instructional technology field are way up high in your resume before you post it. Make sure that you can speak to those competencies. A lot of interviewing now is they give you situational questions, so you want to be ready for those kind of things, and you want to be able to speak to the theory as well as the latest and greatest cutting edge things that are going on, and whether you're pro or con to them, still to be aware of those kinds of things are going to be really important when they are interviewing you for that kind of a job.
Excellent. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful information and your advice, Chris.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for asking me.
My pleasure.